Alright, hello. Welcome to the road to the World Warrior Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. This is ArykheartX, and told you by episode 3 I would have full commentary, as well as, you know, kind of going over what my matches, or what my thought process through my matches were while going through them. I was going through some of my tactics through the matches, what's been going on. Alright, so let's go right into this match right here that you're now seeing. The Sakura and Ryu matchup, in my eyes, it can be either good or bad in Ryu's opinion, or in Ryu's favor, depending on how the Sakura player plays. It could either be very shady with how they play, they could be very offensive, or they could be very turtling. If they're turtling, you can't really cross them up as easily. And that pretty much cuts all your mitts up in half unless you have the knockdown situation. As you can see, this Sakura player isn't really that, well, it's offensive, but he or she doesn't really try to, you know, make that many, you know, pushes towards trying to get me to break my guard and do random things, except for right there when I throw out a random Tatsu. So the reason why I started doing this fully is because I wanted to, you know, use a character that, you know, everyone thought that they knew all the tricks for, which that would be, I mean, there's many characters a lot of people thought they knew that they had tricks for yet. I mean, this game's only 3 years old. I guess you could say now, by now it's 3 years old. And I always thought that Ryu, you know, everyone always thought that Ryu's tricks have all been shown by now. So I chose to take him. I mean, I used to be big back in the Street Fighter type of fighting days. In the, when I was, you know, 5, 6, or 7, one of the two, 3, whatever. And I was a very serious player then. And a lot of things happened where I just, you know, couldn't really focus on playing because I always had to attend to school and stuff like that. But I mean, back then I was a really well-known player, but of course for being like the Noah of today, but also for being really good. Then I kind of dropped out once Third Strike came out and got into the game Soul Calibur, which the only reason why that game appealed to me is because I was big into, like, you know, weapons and stuff like that, like the good old Japanese kind of weapons, I guess you could say. So, and the character I play in there was, the reason for that is because when I was young I loved the Ninja Turtles, and Michelangelo was my favorite character, so therefore, you know, gotta use those nunchucks. But anyway, so after that, a lot of other stuff happened to where I had to quit and, you know, kind of pursue something else, which would be, you know, just continuing on to school after some more drama happened and the hype and, you know, just the focus on SoCal kind of dropped. So yeah, it was kind of a downside in my, I guess you could say, mini career at that point. And it took till Street Fighter 4 to come out where I actually got back into it. But Super Street Fighter 4, when Adon was announced, is when I fully got back into the game and really actually enjoyed it. And of course, not even 6 months later, they announced AE, and I kind of did not like the changes they gave to Adon. The crouching light punch, or crouching jab, being, I believe they made it 3 frames slower, really hurt, because his fast crouching jab was one of the things that made him really good. You were able to actually stop a lot of anti-airs from, or not anti-airs, but a lot of other moves, like the green hand from Zangief and all them other characters, just by doing that. So it was really interesting with how that happened, with how they changed him. I didn't play Adon that much. I still play him a little bit. I just don't take him that seriously anymore. So back to the matches. We have Ryu versus Viper. This is a matchup I hate to say I don't know a lot about, because back in vanilla, not a lot of people played Viper. If they did, they were at the high ranks, and I just, wasn't that as good as I used to be when I was a kid. So I never could officially get up to the high ranks to face the better people. I'd always stay about mid-range, I would say, in terms of skill. And I think over the time of Super and going into AE, my skills have gone back up to almost what they were back then. But then again, players nowadays have just evolved so much more than, 10 or 15 years ago almost now. And it's just amazing how far gamers and players alike have evolved into adapting to the games as quickly as they can, and always, being experimental. Even though, that's just a part of how like fighters and even shooter fans are. We always experiment. We always find, I guess you could say, different ways to break the game or get it to work in our favor. So, but anyway, so the way I tried to get this Viper to actually play for me was get the Viper to make mistakes and get him to, throw out random seismos that I can punish, or, random burning kicks that I know Ryu's Shoryu, even on Wake Up, can punish. But this Viper really played well and got me to actually play for him, and really, really worked out for him. I was a little salty about the loss, but I took it as a learning experience because I don't really know the matchup that well. So, yeah, that was one of the things I really needed to work on. Now, the next match we have is Gouken versus Ryu. Of course, my Ryu. Now, the reason why I know a lot of the tricks that Gouken can do is I actually mained Gouken in vanilla, and where I actually think he was the strongest. A lot of people don't agree with me on that, but I had won 2 Seattle Slam tournaments using Gouken, and it was challenging, yes, but he had every tool in vanilla to stop any character if he wanted to. Of course, he had a lot of problems with Sagat, of course, and Ken, and as well as Chun-Li, I believe he had a lot of trouble with. Anyway, so pretty much what I had him do is usually what most Goukens do. They usually try to bait out the other Shoto characters or other players into trying to Tatsu into the fireball or jumping into the fireball to where they can get a full combo, either off of the demon flip or, other words, any kind of sick, reset that they can get. So one thing I actually tried to get this Gouken player to do was actually shut down all of his options on the ground and force him to jump at me so I can get a anti-air Shoryu into pretty much, EX Fireball or any kind of, pressure that I can keep on the ground while keeping him off the ground. Because Gouken's one big weakness is he has no real air solutions. He does have the Demon Flip, which can be countered very easily. He does also have the neutral dive kick, but it's very punishable, unlike Akuma's. And here I just completely shut down every option the Gouken player has. And then he does his random counter there and fully charges the fireball. Tries to do an EX Demon Flip and doesn't really work for him that well. I pretty much, as you see there, get him to, as I like to call, play in my favor. Get him to whiff something and do a stupid move to where I can, get the upper hand, do something to where I know I'll be able to, not drop it, and it'll be a counter hit, anything like that. So I win that match. And the way I'm actually formatting this is I'm cutting it so that time will be varied to where it won't be, you sit there and watch me search for the lobbies and stuff like that while I keep talking. I'm just going to break down each match for you as best I can. Alright, so this next match was probably the hardest in this episode that I can remember. And it's the Zangief versus Ryu. As everyone knows, or should know, is Zangief had the buff to his jab SBD, which is spinning pile driver, which is ridiculous seeing as how, you pretty much stand from almost half screen and still grab them at any poke that Ryu can do, even his crouching medium kick. And that's just scary because any kind of poke that you throw out, you know that Zangief can probably either lariat or he can spinning pile drive you. So you either have to have full-on offense and make every guess that's right, or you just have to, you know, outsmart the player and to get them to try to whip an SPD. So as you can see, I'm trying to run away while also keeping offensive, just to try to keep that life lead in case he, you know, catches me in the air randomly with the Ultra 2, or just with a random EX SPD, because we all know how players online like to just spin the stick. So, as I'm very successful in constantly outsmarting him, I'm jumping in on him, which I know I shouldn't do as a Ryu player, because I know he knows that Lariat won't work, that I'm smarter than that. So what I do is, as you've seen there, I jump in on him, get the offensive rush, and then I burn my super, get that early damage, and I just pretty much constantly rush him. Shut down all of his options, as I was saying, to get it to play into my favor. So that was the Zangief matchup. Not every Zangief matchup will work that way. I can guarantee any starting Ryu player, it's going to be brutal for anyone out there. So now we go on to probably another one of the harder matchups for a Ryu player. Is a good Ibuki player. If I remember right, this should be the, I believe, yes, I think this is the Ibuki player that had really good footsie and he pretty much shut me down. I'm not really just trying to anti-air Shoryu, or, you know, random Shoryu. I'm trying to just out-jab him to throw him off of his little game here. But he does this, he does stuff like that to just get on the other side of me. It throws my timing off for most of my stuff, or it throws off my commands. And Ibuki is a awkward character. I only say this because of her hitbox. For Ryu, normally most characters can get hit by a crouching jab 3 times and then a low forward, which is a medium kick, into fireball, which in this case the third jab will whiff unless you throw a low light kick. The third light kick will hit, then you can go into medium kick into anything really. It'll either do a block string or it'll hit. Right away the Ibuki sees I'm trying to cross up and grabs me not once but twice. And I sense he's, you know, gonna try to do the vortex. So I did the wake up Shoryu, which is, you know, I guess a taboo unless you know what you're doing. So right here I actually get a flow going and shut down all the options that the Ibuki has, or at least, you know, throw off everything that he's trying to do with my option selects. And I'm pretty much just holding him, or holding myself in the corner to get him to think, okay, I'm going to try to jump out of the corner. And that's always been one thing I love to do. I love to sit in the corner because of the fact it gives me the upper advantage to where, okay, most players are so keen to always having try to block or keep the person in the corner that they want in the corner. Me, I love to be in the corner because then it gives me the upper advantage of I know they can't really cross me up that easily or have that many options because they'd be up against the wall and I'd be able to shut down their options a lot sooner or force them into the wall, as you see here. Now I have full control of the outer barrier and then I cross up and get right in there. So, like I was saying, the Ibuki matchup is a 50-50, I guess you could say. So, yeah, that will do for episode 3. Thank you all for watching. I'm sorry for stuttering and stuff like that. I'm kind of jittery. I'm excited to get this out there, so I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.